Municipal property taxes pay for city services like police and fire and snow clearing. And what you pay in property tax is supposed to be based on what your house is worth. But in New Brunswick, that is not necessarily the case anymore. This is Cambridge Estates. It's in the Millsville area of St. John. It's a subdivision of a lot of duplexes, very similar properties with very similar assessments, but property taxes in here are all over the map. Take, for example, this duplex. 2 units in the same building, very similar, in fact, almost identical, and yet the property tax bill in number 31 will be about $1,200 more this year than the property tax bill in number 29, and it's the same thing across the street here. Number 30 will be paying about $1,100 in property tax more than the unit number 28. Large property tax differences on even identical houses is now commonplace in New Brunswick cities and is caused by a provincial rule called spike protection. Spike protection works to slow down the pace of property tax increases, but only on houses that have long established owners. When a house changes hands, spike protection drops, and that has 2 effects. First, it dries up tax bills for new owners, including young people just getting into the housing market for the first time. And secondly, it forces those new homeowners to subsidize the cost of city services for their neighbors. These are obviously monopoly pieces. In the game, these would be hotels, but for our purposes, we're going to call them houses. 11 houses in their own little village. And let's say it's a village that requires $11,000 a year to operate. So to pay for that, there's a tax levy, property tax levy, $1,000 per house. Pretty straightforward. But let's now say there's a new rule in the village that longtime residents get a discount, a 10% discount on their property tax bill. Well, this house would still pay $1,000, but now these ones are paying $900. That creates a problem for the village. They're $1,000 short of what they need to operate. To fix that, the village has to raise the tax levy to $1,100 per house. The discounted houses pay $990, that's their 10% discount, and the one house without the discount pays $1,100. There is no way to finance the discounts to the 10 houses without the 11th house paying that much more. That's not exactly how residential property taxes in New Brunswick currently work, but it's not far off. On almost every residential street in New Brunswick now, there are houses of similar values charged hundreds of dollars more in property tax than neighboring properties based solely on how long owners have lived there, a system that has been shifting municipal costs. For example, these 7 St. John townhouses all had similar assessed values in 2024. 6 of them had spike protection, and the owners all had property tax bills under $2,600 each. But the 7th unit, recently bought by a young couple, lost its spike protection and was charged $600 more than the other units in the row, just over $3,200. The Holt government is in the middle of a review of New Brunswick's entire property tax system in order to make it, in the Premier's words, more fair and transparent so that by next year, everyone is paying their fair share.